In the small town of Maple Creek in the north of the United States, there was a man named George Ellis, who lived quietly in a wooden house by the woods. Every morning, he sat on an old chair, sipping a cup of tea, feeling the cold dew wafting through the blades of grass. George's life passed peacefully, until he accidentally saw two wild foxes appear in the backyard. At first, he only saw them lurking in the bushes, their eyes shining with alertness. The male fox had a prominent orange fur, while the female fox looked softer and smaller. These two animals always kept their distance, just quietly observing George from afar. Gradually, he realized that the female fox had a big belly, as if she was pregnant. Occasionally, George placed some food and water on the porch, hoping that they would be less shy. The male fox still showed a protective attitude, often standing in front of the female fox when she approached. The more he observed, the more he believed that the female fox was about to give birth. He began to worry about whether they had a safe place to hide, especially when the spring rains suddenly fell. The male fox's eyes seemed to convey the message, "Don't come near us." However, George could not ignore the sight of the female fox struggling to move with her growing belly. He tried to keep his distance, so that they would not feel threatened. The town of Maple Creek was still peaceful, but in George's heart, each passing day added to his worries. One night, he heard the soft cry of a fox echoing from the forest, making his mind uneasy. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted to help if the female fox was in a difficult situation. He decided to patiently observe, waiting for the important moment that nature might arrange. Then one early morning, when the dew was still on the leaves, George heard a strange cry from the grass behind the house. His heart beat faster when he realized that the sound was urgent, a little urgent. Hurriedly stepping out, he saw the male fox running back and forth, hissing as if he was panicking. The female fox lay beside the bushes, panting, her eyes wide with pain. Her belly was bulging, tight, clearly she was in labor but seemed to be having difficulty. George paused, knowing that any hasty action could cause the male fox to attack. The male fox looked at him with wary eyes, growling as if warning. He stopped, raising his empty hands, trying to show that he was not a threat. His heartbeat gradually matched the female fox's panting. Each time she groaned, his heart felt like it was tightening. For the first time, he dared to slowly approach a wild creature in need of help. The male fox still growled, but did not rush at him, as if it knew George had good intentions. He sat down, kept a safe distance, and bent down to observe the female fox's belly. Looking at her writhing figure, he knew that this situation could not be delayed. George whispered a few words, as if he was talking and reassuring both foxes. The male fox's eyes showed concern, but he did not move closer. The female fox groaned, her body trembling, her fur wet with morning dew and sweat. With his experience helping his pet dogs give birth, George slowly moved his hand towards the female fox's belly. The male fox's fur immediately stood on end, hissing, but did not attack. George gently placed his hand on the wet fur, feeling the strong contractions inside. He concluded that the fetus might not have rotated properly, making it difficult for the female fox to give birth. A light breeze blew by, carrying the smell of damp soil and the cold air, making the scene even more tense. George took a deep breath, calmed himself, and then used both hands to adjust the female fox's lying position. The female fox weakly resisted, but seemed to understand the concern, and gradually lay still. Every time she curled up, George gently stroked her to ease the tension. In front, the male fox moved a few steps, his eyes constantly looking at George and then at the female. The sunlight began to filter through the leaves, illuminating the dewy orange fur of both foxes. George skillfully checked the position of the fetus, realizing that the baby's head had not come out yet. He knew he had to turn the fetus a little to help the female fox push easier. Despite the risks, he could not bear to abandon the little creature that was about to be born. The female fox's legs jerked, each moan sounded heartbreaking. George carefully moved his hand to the fetus position, skillfully turning it gently to help the baby find the right way out. The atmosphere was now as tense as a string, only the female fox's gasps and a few sobs remained. After a few minutes of effort, George felt a clear movement inside the female fox's belly. She tensed up, gritted her teeth, and closed her eyes in extreme pain. The male fox suddenly howled, seemingly wanting to cheer her mate on. George whispered, "Come on, we're almost there." Suddenly, he saw the fox's head emerge, and the female fox gave another push. A tiny fox, its fur still wet and sticky, rolled out, making its first weak cry. George quickly used a clean towel to wipe its mouth and nose, helping it breathe normally. The male fox took a step forward, sniffling, then retreated, perhaps too worried for both of them. Without stopping, the female fox continued to contract, because there were many more fetuses. George patiently repeated the process, supporting each push of the poor animal. Pain followed pain, but the female fox no longer struggled as fiercely as before. Her eyes were filled with fatigue, but still shone with a strong desire to survive. Another fox cub was born, its mouth gasping for air. George cleaned it again, placing the fox cub near its mother's belly to warm it. The male fox stopped growling, his eyes shifting from wary to hopeful. The sky gradually brightened, the gentle spring sunlight covering the beautiful yet tense scene. The female fox's belly was still bumpy, meaning there were still other young foxes. George continued to support, his steady hand guiding each fetus out. With each born fox, he wiped away the fluid, stimulating its breathing. The male fox did not take his eyes off, occasionally circling around the two figures kneeling close to the ground. The wet ground bore George's footprints and the fox's footprints, blending together. Each push took place, lasting seemingly forever, making the female fox hoarse and exhausted. George tenderly caressed it, encouraging it not to give up, because he felt they had gone too far. The third, fourth, and finally the fifth fox cubs were gradually born. His eyes were blurred with emotion, when he heard the soft cries of the fox cubs struggling to breathe their first breath of air. The female fox lay down, breathing heavily, her body as if exhausted after giving birth. George placed the fox cubs on their mother's belly, so they could find their mother's breasts. Each hungry little creature whimpered softly, starting to suckle the first milk. The male fox crept closer, sniffing all over them, then looked towards George. There was no longer any resentment in his eyes, only silent gratitude. George took a clean towel, gently wiping away the remaining fluid on the mother fox's fur. The female fox stirred slightly, her head resting on the grass, but her eyes were still half open looking at the cubs. He quickly went to get some clean water and soft meat, placing it within reach of the female fox. The male fox sniffed first, then let the female fox taste some food. The fox cubs bobbed up and down, tiny and curled up close to their mother's belly, ignoring the wetness around them. The sky was brighter now, the sun glistening on the remaining dewdrops. George sat down on the ground, relieved to see the result of more than 2 hours of intense labor. In that moment, he realized the magic of nature, where humans and wild animals can cooperate for life. He slowly backed away, giving the fox family space, but still keeping an eye out for any complications. Through the morning sunlight, George smiled slightly, knowing that this experience would forever be imprinted in his heart, where love and patience blended into one miracle. Dear friend, thank you for taking the time to follow the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support us.